Hello, hello, hello. We're here tonight. We are doing a preseason big discussion. We're going to talk about things that changed with the team, things that stayed the same with the team, and then we'll just tie up some loose ends at the end, just some personal thoughts about the season and maybe some expectations. Two of my panel members to my left, Chuck and Chris Dustin, you would know them from the end of the season roundtable. Chuck's always on Fan TV. Steve is new to the panel discussion. He has been on Fan TV before, so that's the panel tonight. Just a little bit of us, nothing going to be too crazy, and we will start with things that stayed the same. So we kept the core of our roster. The roster really didn't shift. We had some crazy up and downs in the front office and in the coaching staff, and I know some people were really upset about what happened to Coach Fuller, and I kind of bothered me personally. So I think that is just what comes to mind, and that's where we will start. So Steve, you can go first. What did you think about what happened to Coach Fuller?
Well, I've always told people that we don't know what went on behind the scenes. We as fans know that it's a business decision, but we have a personal bit of pride invested in that. The fact that he was one of the original players, and so a lot of people were very upset when he was just quite unceremoniously let go. I mean, did we find out that from the Orlando Sentinel like 2 or 3 days after the fact that he was let go, if I'm not mistaken? So I think that there was a lot of anger, not only directed at the front office for the fact that he was let go, but the way that it was announced. But I want to go ahead and say on the other side of it, we don't know what played into that. Was there a personality issue? Was there something else that went on? I really don't know, and I can't speculate as to why the decision was made.
All right, so here's my uneducated 2 cents. Here's what I think happened. I think Flavio was seeing that the MLS is a completely different entity, you know what I mean? And okay, so maybe we don't run this like a mom and pop club like it had been. Like a lot of businesses start out and it's all family oriented stuff, and then something comes in and boom, it's got to be about making some money. I don't know what his life was behind the scenes. I don't know if he started talking to other owners of other teams and just was like, hey, and somebody was like, hey man, you need to get rid of this sentimental stuff. You got to start doing it. So he brings in this guy. Allegedly, no one's ever seen this man. I can't even tell you. I don't remember his name, and it's on me. I should remember. But he's like a ghost. No one ever saw this guy. No one ever. There was no press conference. No nothing. Just all of a sudden, this guy is doing this thing, and then I forgot what the title is. Operations, or some crap like that. Head of soccer, clusterfuck. I don't know. But so he does this, and then the guy who was basically running our ship for a while goes, gets fired and goes, and then eventually Atlanta picks him up. Well, you can just get the feeling, and especially because of things Adrian Heath has said since then, that basically it was kind of like, we got to cut ties with these people and move on, and we got to start focusing on basically it being the the third string of Benfica's third string is kind of what I think maybe they were doing with that. I don't know for sure. That's just all the scuttlebutt. But it was absolutely terrible because, of course, if someone has to be let go because they're not doing their job, fine. But he'd been MLS coach 1 season. They had done okay. It's how do you say he's doing a bad job? There's no reason to not have him around. And that was a symptom of just the chaos that happened in this offseason, is just that he was let go. And, of course, the supporters showed up. There's only a handful of us, but they showed up in front of their office and let everybody know. The Sentinel got word of it. The 740 The Game, they talked about that. Mark Daniels and Mike Bianchi talked about that on the radio show. So word got out that we didn't like any of that. So that's basically where the supporters are at with it. Of course, we wish Ian Fuller could come back. Maybe they'll hire him back. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be there, but you can't take the heart out of the team for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Ian Fuller's a legend. I mean, he's been a player, been a coach. Player and coach at the same time. Right. He's been around, and just for him to cut ties like that, it's just it sucks. the thing that bothers me the most is the club used to always be so open, with us. Like we felt like we were part of it. And all of a sudden they bring this other dude in, and it's like the whole culture in the front office changed, and it just I think that's how it rubbed most of us the wrong way, because it's like, what the hell's going on here, and I find out about a tweet. I think that's how I found out, was people tweeting about it, and then and the openness is what's really killed it. So, and like you said, I think they pretty much realized that, this isn't working. Let's get rid of this guy before he causes too much damage, and then move on and pick up the pieces and try to get back to where we were.
I just don't see how it was going to help us. Like, it just didn't feel like it was a move to actually help us. If I could just give you a little anecdote. One day I was waiting in the Orlando City office. I was picking up something. I can't remember what for. But I was waiting in there, and I watched for like 20 minutes. I think I had to meet with Phil. And Coach Heath was just in a room with with Ian Fuller, like going over stuff and talking to him. And you could genuinely see that, like, Heath liked this guy and this was going to be his guy. And I think once that happened, when he got fired, I think Heath that was like a huge blow to him. Phil saw it, probably told Flavio, was like, this is not how we should do it. And everything was going. Because there was like a good, week-long period where everyone actually believed that Phil might be on the chopping block. There were some legitimate concerns. And people were like, it was, I don't know. And everyone was like, going to threaten to burn down the city if he got fired and stuff. But, like, that was the part that really kind of got to me, was, like, just that twinge of, like, Adrian, that's what I meant to say. Adrian was, like, on the chopping block. And we're like, how are you going to fire this guy? He came in the MLS. Yes, we didn't make the playoffs, but we did okay. And I'm sure we'll get into expectations and stuff. But, like, he's not the problem at this point. And so that was our foray into the big leagues. I think we want to keep it a little bit more family friendly, as far as, in the front office.
Yeah, he's the program. You can't get rid of the program and start over just after one year. So, and we're on the topic of things that changed. So I think the next biggest change is after everything in the front office cleared up and things settled back down, and they put Phil and they put Adrian obviously back in charge. Then came the super draft, and we got the UCF local in Barry, and we got Laria, and he's part of the Night's Watch, so I'll let him talk about Barry. I'm not familiar with him. I know he's very raw, very explosive, and Laria is a solid winger, and he's good friends with Laren, so they got the Canadian connection. They played, I think, at Omega Club as kids, something like that. It's something along those lines. Yeah, some youth club I'm not familiar with. Yeah, don't know what you're talking about. So, I think we did well in the super draft. I have really no opinion on those players because I'm not that familiar with them. But, I know you'll talk about Barry. Do you have any? You're familiar with the players?
Ignorant as you.
Okay, so the jury's out from us still, and he'll talk about Barry, and Chris can tie up the loose ends.
All right, so I'm the leader of the UCF supporters group. It's called the Night's Watch, and we just do what the ILF and Ruckus does on a very, very small scale. There's usually like 20 of us at a game, and so we got to hang out with the team. It was very awesome. We got to really get to know these guys, because we would march and they would walk through us, and we'd walk them to the thing, and then we'd hang out, and they gave us like dinners we'd eat together and stuff. Haji Barry is one of the coolest dudes. He's really nice, really awesome, and you could tell that he was shining on that field. They were trying to push Mason Miller, who's a really good guy, as like the head dude, and Haji Barry just was kind of like this other guy. And then as the season began, he just reminded me so much of how Dennis Chin used to play, except for like how Dennis Chin would sometimes get quiet and in the back, and he was kind of like a cocky dude, but like Haji Barry just has that confidence, like give me the ball, and you could just tell. It reminded me of at the very beginning when Kaká came, and you could just see like the difference in talent that he was used to. He would be in spots and put the ball somewhere, and before Laren learned how to finish it, everyone was either off sides, they didn't know to hold and wait, and he'd kick it to the right spot. Once the season ended, they got that. Same with Haji Barry. He was quick. He would take on 2 or 3 guys and just make them miss, and then he would, either kick it and it would miss, or he'd pass it to somebody and they would flub it up. But occasionally he would just take it through and then go. And I was like, I hope to God we get him. And everyone's like, no, that's just a homer pick, man. And I'm like, no, trust me. I'm watching this dude. I know it's college, but this guy's going to be good. And he's already scored a bunch of goals in the preseason. So, I mean, he'll be an OCB for a little while, but I can guarantee you that if that man can make it up to our, like, you know, we have a good backup striker and one that's a me guy, which is what you want in a striker. You want a guy who wants the ball. You don't want a guy who's timid about it. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm definitely pleased with the pick, and I just wish they would let us know how much TAM they gave up for him, you know, the allocation money. But, and as far as the other guy, Larry, him and Laren are best friends. I mean, talk about some chemistry. I'm excited to see those two young guys grow up together in the club and just, man, they can do some serious things.
And you know, I think both filled a position of need. We could use an extra wing, whether he's going to play left or right. I know he played left in college, Laria, so that'll be good. And, you know, behind Laren at striker, we're actually really thin. So, you know, I know we have Roches, but his injuries mismanaged from the Honduras national team. And he, you know, when we get him back from the U20s, he's injured. So now, you know, like after Laren, I know Laren can play 90 minutes. We all know he can. As you know, Chuck said it last year. It's the best thing we did last year is we got Laren. So, you know, I don't think his talent is an issue. He came back. He's looked really fast. He's looked really healthy. And, you know, I'm excited about it. But, you know, I might disagree with Chuck a little about that Barry is going to be at OCB because other than Laren, we don't have anybody that can play any minutes at the spot right now. And, I mean, we still have time, and I know, you know, we're probably looking for an MLS veteran, but lots of MLS veterans came and went when we were having a front office shuffle. So, you know, I think that the Barry trade-up was not only out of, you know, need because that's right after the office had settled down, but because maybe our options are a little shorthanded. And I'm not an expert on the MLS free agent market. I don't really claim to be an expert on anything. You know, I'm just a fan, just like you guys watching, just like these guys sitting here. You know, I'm not you know, I don't know. I don't have any information that you guys don't have. But, you know, if you look at the depth chart and you look at the situation, it kind of speaks of itself. So, you know, I hope Barry is ready to go. And I wouldn't mind seeing him sooner rather than later. I mean, you can't get going if your feet aren't wet, so to speak, you know. So I don't know what we will. So, and then you guys, any other comments about Barry or Alaria or the draft generally?
I really think that hearing them speak and raving about our new players, you have to understand that what killed us last year, what killed us was the call-ups and the injuries. And we had nobody to replenish that talent that was gone. And if these guys can come in, you know, in the month of April or May or something like that, when some of the nagging injuries start occurring, when some of the call-ups start coming in, they'll have a month or two under their belt. Even if they stay at OCB, they're going to have game time fitness as opposed to just training for 3 or 4 hours, you know, 4 or 5 days a week, you know, non-contact. There is a total different atmosphere between game and practice. So if these two guys are as you guys say they are, and I have no reason to doubt you, hey, we're you know, we need all the help that we can get, definitely with the call-ups that are going to be coming up. And, you know, part of the problem of having a good team that we have a lot of call-ups.
Okay, so then that just brings us to, you know, our last major change for the offseason, and that is our shiny new toy. Or not toy, I guess. It's Adrian Heath's toy, our shiny new player. Narciso, the Italian international. He's like 15 national team caps. He's been at Milan. He's been at Juventus. He's, you know, he's a little older, but he can slot all over the midfield, so he can play on the wings. He can play in the defensive mid, and I think getting somebody with so much versatility is very positive, and I know we paid a lot of money for him, and I would expect him to start. I don't know what that's going to do to our midfield. I know Higuita's out, and Nasser is not here yet, so for week one it might be a little I think eventually we see Nacirio on the left, Higuita and Serin in the defensive mids, and then on the right we see Molino. I saw him at the friendly on what day was it, Saturday, and he played a really good 60 minutes. I know he didn't have part in any of the scoring. He might have had an assist, but I don't think that he did. But he looked pretty good. So I don't see him displacing Molino. And Rivas is what he is. He had no goals last year. We had essentially no goals from the left side last year, other than one from Bowden. And I think we had an Avila goal from the left side too, but yeah, well, that is what it is. So, we had no goals from the left side essentially, and so I think that putting Narcino there would add an attacking threat that we have. But that's just my speculation. I don't really want to see Rivas go to the bench because he needs the minutes under his belt to be good, and we're also paying him a lot of money. But if the team set the expectation of playoffs or bust, they said it last year. We busted. This year to get to the playoffs, we're gonna need some firepower off the left side, in whatever way it comes from. But in my opinion, that's where Narcino's gonna slot in best. So I'll go this way first.
I'm happy that we're getting somebody that people will, another kind of brand guy, like another recognition thing. I really like when we get these like little diamonds in the rough, but it's really cool to be on the international stage again when everyone's like, oh, Orlando City. I mean, just vanity wise, that's good, but it'll help with the branding, which will bring in money, which can always help in the long run. Like I said, I've never actually watched this man play that I know of. I mean, maybe he played for an Italian. Maybe I saw like one of his games and I didn't pay attention. But so I have no idea how he's going to do. But if everyone's excited, I'm no reason to rock that boat, man.
Yeah, one of the things I'm most excited about is, Coach is talking about possibly changing up the formation. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I know. What they call the Christmas tree. Yeah. So that's the most interesting thing out of this whole thing. I know we were at the game on Saturday, and they played the three defensive mids there, and I guess whenever Nocerino comes in, I'm assuming he'll probably take Ribeiro's spot in that formation if that's what they decide to go with. And from reading stuff online, it sounds like that is possibly like they might, Nocerino might be playing more closer to the top. They'll have the three defensive mids, and then Nocerino's going to be up a little further, and then they'll have Molino and Kaká up, right behind the striker. So, and I guess Kaká, they're talking about him being more aggressive, playing closer to the box, and possibly getting some more goals. So, I welcome it. I think it's great. I just can't wait for Bods to take over Shea's position at left back, honestly. Bods is my favorite, so I always got to throw that out there. So
I think you just alluded to it just now. We saw what the team could potentially do Saturday night, and I agree 100% that Nocerino's position is where Ribeiro was playing this past week. If there was any inkling that Kaká was going to be playing in the center, he would have played in the center Saturday night. So they were already kind of pushing him out in the wing, in my opinion, to get ready for that next step for when we get Nocerino. And I have to say, an intangible fact that I just can't get away from is Kaká and Nocerino were teammates at one point. There is no way that they did not go to Kaká and say, is he nasty? Do you not want him on the team? I guarantee you he signed off on that, signed, sealed, and delivered and said, I'm all for it. So if it's Kaká's got his blessing, then you know what? In my opinion, Kaká is still our most important player. He's not my favorite player on the team, but he is the nucleus of that team. Whatever Orlando City does is what Kaká steers it to that.
Okay, well, I agree and disagree with Steve, and I'll make it really brief. And I agree that Kaká did need his stamp, and I disagree because I think that the defensive mids in Higuita and Seren are really what makes the team go. And I mean, obviously, marketing wise and off the field wise, and drawing fans to the stadium wise, it's all Kaká. In that sense, I 100% agree. But on the field, when Higuita and Seren were in form and Kaká was out, we started to win games at the end of last season without Kaká. And so to me that's just where I disagree. It's not, we don't need to go over and on about it, but that's just to play the devil's advocate.
And that wasn't my intent to say that he is the face of the franchise. Right. You're not gonna go to freaking Reno, Nevada, and then see somebody's gonna see your Orlando City shirt and they go, hey, Darwin Seren's a hell of a player. That's just not gonna happen. No. So
no. I agree. And you guys have any comments just to finish up this conversation or?
Yeah, he is. I'm not educated.
Yeah, I mean, I think Higuita and Seren, they'll still be playing the back part. I think the two of them are still going to be playing off each other, just like you said. I mean, however the two of them played together decides if we win or lose. I mean, that was how it was all last year. That's how I see it this year. I'm just hoping, you hear rumors and stuff that they want eventually to sell off Higuita. I hope it's not this year. I mean, that guy's got heart, man. I love the guy.
That concludes the first part of our big discussion here. And now, so that's things that changed, and now we'll go to things that stayed the same. And we'll I think it would just be best if we all picked one thing that stayed the same, and we'll just do some final expectations, and we'll wrap it up. So things that stayed the same. My favorite thing that stayed the same is that Heath stayed. Like I said, I had mentioned earlier, he's the program. He's the one that was here from USL. I mean, I even think he was coached a season at Austin Aztecs. Like I could be wrong.
Oh, he's been there since
yeah. So then he was there at Austin Aztecs. So he was here before. He was a part of the team before Orlando. So I was one. Chuck mentioned it that there was some like people that were on strings about Heath not being part of this going forward, and I was one of them who was like, checking every day, just being like, please not Heath, like please don't let Heath be the next casualty. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do, So I'm really glad that's my favorite part that stayed the same, is that Heath is still here, and I'm glad Phil kind of took over the player operations too, because I don't know the Benfica guy. I'm not familiar with his track record, but I am familiar with Phil's track record and how Phil works with Heath, and I'm familiar with the success that they brought to the USL level, and I don't have any doubt in my mind that they could do it at MLS. And that's the program is Phil and Heath, and that's where I'm most happy about. That stayed the same.
All right, I'm gonna catch hell from this from like all my friends and people, but the thing that I like the best that stayed the same is Kaká, because and everyone's gonna be like the front runner. No, but not only is he the face of our franchise, but we tend to forget that this guy was the World Player of the Year in 2007. And sure, he didn't score exactly like we thought we were, but this guy is. They're talking about he's coming back like extra like badass this year. Like, I'm gonna get more goals and do this. Do you know what that's like if you're like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or something, and you had like a crappy game and you're like, nope, I'm dropping 40 next game. Like, we're going to get this guy. Because I think he came in, kind of, was like happy, kind of went through the paces a little bit. Apparently there was some like stuff going on with his family, so there was a lot of that drama. He had some call-ups, a little bit of an injury bug. Yeah, maybe just what it was all new to him. Well, now he's in there. His mind is set, kind of like Rocky 2, right? Rocky 1, he's just happy to be there. I mean, this is Kaká, obviously, but like he's just happy to be there. He's taking it in. He went the distance. Now he wants that belt. He wants that. He said, when we first got here, we want to win the championship. And everyone's like, oh, my God, he's guaranteeing it. And then you can kind of see him get frustrated in the middle of the year. And then we did well without him. And now he's like, okay, so I'm not going to come in here and control everything, but I can play my role, which is a great big role, and I'm going to just kick as much ass as possible. Now we know Laren can do what he can do, and I don't have to be the guy that sets up every goal. And, now he can kick like those corner kicks. Oh my God, Seb Hines doing what? If he can do that for Seb Hines, imagine what he can do for the rest of the team. So thank you, Kaká. Come back and kick some ass, because he's got one more year on his contract after this. So this is his second year. So he needs to get to the finals or a championship this year to have another year to cement it, because he might sign for another year or two after that to kind of just trail off, or he might just take his money right off into the sunset, say, look what I started, and just, hang out and everything and be a beautiful man.
Well, Chuck, after hearing you talk about all that Rocky stuff, I'm hoping when you put these videos together, you can dub some little Rocky music in the background. I mean, I want to go run up the steps over in Philly and start jumping up and down. No, but Kaká, he's gonna improve. I mean, the cultural differences he was going through, just moving from another country. I mean, it can really mess you up. And then
happened to Sarah.
Yeah.
He came from El Salvador in the in the USL season. Sorry, when Darren Sarin got here from USL, we were like, "Oh, we have the national team captain," and he did kind of like under the radar. But look what he did his second year here. That's all I got to say. Look what he did last year.
Yeah. So I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and I think he's going to have an exceptional season. I mean, much better than last year. And as far as the stuff that stayed the same, I mean, just like you said, Sam, about the coaching. I mean, it sort of changed at first, but then at the end of the off season, it stayed the same. So, I like the two big guys in charge. Just like I think during one of the interviews I heard Bianchi, I think, talking to Coach about it. He's like, hey, if you're gonna have me cooking the food, you can at least let me shop for the groceries. So. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, they know what they're doing. I mean, I trust in both of them. In Inchy we trust. I mean, the two of them just are amazing together, and I'm so glad that partnership's coming back, where they're going to be in charge.
Let's make one suggestion for your T-shirt business. Phil and Heath 2016. That's all I got to say. That's my ticket right there.
British nationals. Papa Phil, that's my number one, obviously, and you guys have already touched on that. So that's the big thing for me. But one thing that we didn't talk about was Seren and Ramos signing their extensions. They're going to be happier. They've been rewarded for their heart and hustle last year. I love Ramos's feistiness, and sometimes it's a detriment. We saw that in Columbus last year, but I don't want that to go away, because if you take that away from him, then you change the type of player he is. Then he becomes less aggressive. I like to see him get at it and get into players' heads. Because so much of sports is the mental game, and if you can get into their heads, then you get a little bit of an advantage in that. But Seren, and obviously he is such. I mean, what a great guy too he is. I mean, what other player in any other sport, even in other football / soccer clubs, the guy comes through the tailgate, just hangs out and says, "Hey, I just want to kick it with the fans." So for me, Ramos and Seren being rewarded is really big for me.
All right, and then we'll just go through our last point of, expectations, or just something that hasn't been talked about. And I'll just put it out there. I think we all expect to go to the playoffs. I think that's not an expectation set by me individually or by any of the four of us. That's the club's expectation. So with that said, I touched on it earlier, and I'm going to touch on it again. My expectation is more production from the left wing. Breckshay hasn't scored a club goal since 2012, and we had really no goals from Rivas other than in the Open Cup where he had the PKs. So, that is, and when Rivas did fill in at the end of the season and was playing good and not firing balls to kids on OBT, we started to play better, and Laren got some nice crosses, and yet, I think Rivas had 3 assists, but I don't think 0 goals from the 2 main dudes on the left side is going to make the cut this year. And if it does make the cut this year, I'm personally going to be pissed, and and I will rant about it. And those of you who follow the channel are going to have to hear about it, and I'm sorry for that now. But that's just
It can be stopped.
It can be stopped, not by
Watching this now, stop him from doing it.
Yeah. So, but that's that's really my expectation, is that the team needs to increase production on the left-hand side. I know that we had a pile of injuries and call-ups and blah excuses. I know didn't affect the left side because there was nothing to be affected. So that's mine.
Well, I guess my expectation for the season would have to be off the field, kind of like I expect that the club is going to figure out which direction it wants to go in, like legitimately for the future. Like, do they want to be an out of touch multinational type club, like Emirates and just like stuff that you see in like the EPL. I mean, with Phil at the helm, I doubt that because it still has the family friendly thing. But we're going to be moving into a new stadium, and that's my favorite thing to talk about. When we get into a new stadium, we'll have to cry because I won't have anything to talk about. But they're going to. I'll talk about stuff in the stadium. Don't worry about it. But we have this feeling of everything is still new and it's not done. It is not done. It is not done. We are not cemented. We're not in our home. We're in the Citrus Bowl. This is the finale of the Citrus Bowl and all this stuff. We're going to be doing all this great stuff. But we haven't cemented. Everything still feels malleable to me. It's still able to be set. Once we get into our stadium and there's a routine, there's how the players are going to play, how it's going to sound, what kind of crowd we're going to be. We still have time to fix all of that. As far as the supporters go, we're going to add new stuff, we're going to sing songs, what are we going to do? And as far as the team goes, how are they going to treat us? Just got to put this out there. A lot of people, including me, were not really happy with the season ticket box. I know why. First world problems, right? Yeah, they sent us this thing if you haven't gotten them, and I'm sure it's cool. It's a little VR thing. You put it in there. I mean, like a lot of people, I would just rather just got another scarf. They did away with Society 21, and they made it Lions Nation.
I don't know if they got away with that.
Well, they said that they were not going to use that branding or something. Society 21. They were. Well, they said Lion Nation is what it's going to be from now on. But that's the worst thing you could put. How many nations things are there? How about the Pride? I don't know what you're going to call us, but something other than Lion Nation, Lion Kingdom, whatever.
Well, there's one of the guy. I got into this on social media with Jeremy Caldwell. Big fan of the channel. Thanks, Jeremy Caldwell. Thank you, Jeremy Caldwell. But okay, anyway, he emailed his season ticket lady and was like, "Hey, season ticket." I don't remember her name, but hey, season ticket lady. Yeah. And he was like, "What is with Society 21? Like I just got my season ticket package. What is that? Is it gone now?" And she said, he sent me the email. I have it on a picture. I can post it if all of you want to see it. And it said that Society 21 members will be getting additional benefits that are to be determined in late March. So that's what I was told. So that's.
I'm fixing to go off on that.
Yeah, I heard on one of the podcasts. I listen to podcasts all the time, and they were talking about, I guess, on that Lion Nation website or where they're building there, that you're going to get some sort of points, and based upon how many points you have, that's going to determine you get better, basically to choose the better prize or whatever. So the Society 21 members, this is from what I'm understanding, if I understood the podcast right, my drunken haze, is that they would basically get more points, so they get to choose the better prizes. That's sort of what I got.
Yeah. All right. Let me just quickly go down the list of reasons why this is fucking stupid. Okay. Let me just be real on this. All right. You stroked us off so damn much talking about Society 21. Look, I know a lot of people, and they want to be season ticket holders, but the reason that they got in when they got in is to get their goddamn name on a brick in the stadium. Okay, I'm not one of those people. I've been a season ticket holder since USL. Okay, point system. What the fuck is this, man? How are you getting points? I go show up to a game, I get a point. We got it. See, now there's all this unnecessary shit because it's just propaganda coming out of their stuff. I like to listen to their podcast too, but I mean, come on, people, let's be real. Everything you're gonna get them is fucking sunshine and lollipops and stuff. There's nothing bad that happens if you come to there. What are you gonna get points for trading shit? Is this like GameStop? You get more points if you trade in shit. Look. Give the new people some things, and here's the shit that pissed me off last year. I thought I was being slick. Everyone's like, "Oh, I want the jersey. I want the game worn jersey." Those shit sold out real quickly, and no one got theirs when they wanted it. I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? The way they made it sound, I'm gonna take the training session because they're gonna put me out there at Sylvan Park. I'll get to watch them, although I was out there for media purposes with my podcast. But, like, I'm going to get to do this, and maybe they'll sign a couple autographs for me afterwards. I'll get a little private session. Nope. I talked to the season ticket people all year. When are we going to get that training session? Well, there's a lot of stuff to do because now they're in MLS. That is considered an appearance fee, and as the Players Association, they couldn't. I don't know why they can't do that because they have to do a certain amount of appearances a year and all this. It goes over what. So they just jammed us all in like right before the last couple games, and we all had to sit there in some hot-ass day in the Citrus Bowl watching them do a glorified practice. And I was like, this is the shit. They didn't even come over to us to talk to us. No, nothing. So I was like, next year when you do some shit, I'm going to be one of them assholes that tries to get a jersey or something. How about this, Society 21? Give us a damn scarf and give us like one coupon for like 50 or 60% off at your damn team store. I'd be happy with that shit. 50% off jersey, and I'd be cool with that. You know what I mean? Like,
You'll still even pay for it.
I will still pay for your damn jersey. I'm still going to pay, what, $50 for a jersey? You're still going to get money from me. I don't want your damn piece of cardboard. Fuck this.
It's all good, man. I don't care.
I totally lost track of where we were. Man, we went from fucking expectations to VR and bullshit. All right. No, but I mean, I'm with you guys. But my wife sent me a text of the VR boxes, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not exactly excited to get home today, but at least to watch that. But expectations, I'm playoffs or bust. That's, I mean, if they're going to come out and say that this is the goal, which they said was going to be the goal last year, and everybody kind of like, you guys are still in your inaugural season. You're not going to make it to the playoffs. I mean, it went down to the last game last year. With the additions, the injuries that are coming back, there's no reason why they don't make it. I mean, 6 teams in the East make it, 6 teams in the West make it, 4 teams in each conference don't make it. We should not be part of that 14, bystanding team. So.
I think we lost it earlier in the season when we lost those games.
Was it July?
No, you're talking about the first 3 games.
Well, no, yeah. Those we had like a string of losing in like the 90th minute. Yeah.
The first 2 games.
Yeah, and we like that's probably honestly when I thought we lost it because those are games because some of the games we lost we just played like shit and you lose, but those were games that we should have either tied or won or got.
Versus Vancouver, we leave their best player unmarked in the box
and just
in minute 90. Yeah,
just shit all over the field, and then that came to bite us in the ass. What, 6 months later, basically? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you wanted to talk about the VR real quick because I wanted to hear everything. Sorry, man. Going off topic. We're on couches.
Hey Chuck, you need to just download this VR roller coaster. It's awesome, dude. You can just go there. It feels like you're in a roller coaster. It's my 8-year-old loves it. Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh, gee, no, my 8-year-old doesn't look at those. But as far as the, are we gonna go over like what we think are the changes from this year? Is that what you said? Okay. Well, my main concern as far as the changes are, keeper. I'm just really concerned about that position. I mean, I saw Bendick. He that goal he gave up in the friendly on Saturday was not very good. What
happened in Jacksonville?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really concerned about that. I think if we can shore up that position and maybe, with the chemistry and everything and and with whatever center backs he winds up with in front of him, then they'll something will happen. But man, I'm really concerned about Bendick there because it's just I don't know, from what I've seen, I haven't been too impressed. I mean, I like Earl Edwards so much better, and I don't know if it's just because I'm loyal because he's with us last year, and it was almost like they got rid of Tally Hall and this Bendick guy took his spot, and all of us love Tally Hall. I mean, he's an awesome dude. He'd come out, say hi to the guys, and just he's just intense. The guy's just intense, and I love that about him. and he's not afraid to yell at and scream at people and just get his point across, whatever words he wants to use. And I don't know. I'm just concerned about keeper. That's the main position I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. We had been thinking about scoring in the field, and we didn't even think about who's in the box. Well, I think it's an unknown. Like, he couldn't be any worse than Ricketts. So there you go. Hey, who knows, man? Maybe if our offense is good enough, he won't have to block as much, and maybe it won't be so bad.
If we can do what we did Saturday night, it's the, there's no reason why he would need to even break a sweat. Sam and I had a little discussion about that. He says that the defense wasn't challenged at all in the game. I said they weren't challenged in the last 89th minute, last 89 minutes of the game. But that's another discussion. But no, the Tally Hall situation, totally from a business standpoint, I agree. You got a guy that we watched him. He landed on his knee. He bent it backwards. Nobody was even 20 yards around him. He cost $350,000 towards the cap last year. So from a business standpoint, you understand, but you also hope that there is some sort of I'm with you guys. I thought Earl Edwards, in the little bit that we saw last year, he was blocking penalty kicks in friendlies when we were watching. I thought, hey, we got somebody. They must see something in him to be able to let Tally Hall go as easily as they let Tally Hall go. But we haven't seen him. And when we see Bendit come in, well, I think part of the reason why we see him in between the posts right now is because he brought his coach with him too. So you kind of got to, it was the Toronto coach. So exactly. So it's, I think there's a little bit of, familiarity with those two, and that's probably why he's in it right now. But I'm definitely with you guys. Tally Hall is going to be missed.
My final sentiment on the goalkeeper is, I think Chuck said it best. Neither of them are probably going to be as bad as Ricketts. So, I'm good with either one. We've all four of us have shared the sentiments about we all trust the system and we trust the coach and we trust the front office. So, with that said, they're there every day. They're watching both the keepers. I would assume at this point Bendick is going to start, and to conclude that assumption, I also think he'll be on a short leash. So, I think that if balls are hitting him in the leg and he, like they were to the friendly, and it just goes right in, I think that we'll see Edwards pretty quickly. So, any which way, however it shakes out, and that's kind of my just general, I'll just conclude there. However it shakes out at all the positional battles, whether it's the center halves or, we brought in Alston at right back to challenge Ramos because, Ramos could be inconsistent, and we bring in a veteran to challenge him, whether it's at the goalkeeper, whether, Winter's going to push Molino because Molino's not all the way healthy or not at right wing. We have a positional battle all over the field at almost, Kaká is safe, the CDMs are safe, and Laren is safe. And the other, 6 dudes, 7 dudes are all in a positional battle for health or for talent or for whatever the issue is. And, I'm not there at the open practices. I was there at the open practice, but I'm not there at every practice. I'm not a coach. So however they shake out, I trust Mastermind. He's the crafter. You just leave it at that. That I'll end the video. I'll say goodbye after they tell their final thoughts, but that's my final thought.
My final thought is that we got to enjoy this last season at the Citrus Bowl. Tailgating, there'll still be maybe a tailgate culture for this new stadium. There's some stuff working out. People might find some spots. It'll definitely be changed. But we got to just enjoy this last season kind of in our spiritual home. And I know there's always talk about, if the game's big enough, we're going to... No. The only time it would happen is if, fucking Liverpool or Manchester United came and, played a friendly. It's the only time we would get back into there. If it's a championship game, we're playing in our stadium. We're selling it out. So this is the last times we can do that. It'll be awesome. I expect maybe last 5 minutes, no matter what happens, we're going to smoke the hell out of the Citrus Bowl. I can just foresee that happening. I know my friends, I know our people, and they can be on the lookout all they want, and they know it's going to happen, and it doesn't matter. I think they'll be fine with that. Yeah, they'll be fine with that. I don't care. So got to just enjoy our last home, our home, and dealing with the crappy security, like basically doing full cavity searches for you to get inside to sell you a cup of beer that'll spill in 3 seconds. So anyway, that's my thing for the season. That's my final words.
Well, final words for me. I mean, I'm just looking forward to the season. I think they've made a lot of improvements. Depth at striker, as we talked. I mean, that's one of my concerns, and hopefully they figure that out. I mean, but I'm just looking forward to the season. I just want to drink as much as I can, make new friends. I've made a lot of friends during this last friendly, and I want to continue on. And it's just a wonderful atmosphere. I mean, it's like no other sporting event, no other sport. It's just, I mean, you can't even compare it. I mean, been to Bucks tailgate games, and tailgates, been to all the other sports, and it's just, I don't know. It's like a family, and that's how I feel with these guys. I mean, I just want to give Chuck a big hug, honestly, but I'm not going to because it's on video, and he might beat me.
It's all love. It's all love.
Looking forward this year to. I think this is obviously this is our first time in MLS that we actually have a realistic expectation of actually going and doing something. Am I mistaken? They only lost one game, the Jacksonville game, this whole preseason. I mean, all the friendlies. I mean, yes, they played Eastern State, Florida State College, okay, but I mean, they still played Toronto. They still played Red Bull. I mean, they scored 6 against a Brazilian club. Yes, it's not the high-level Brazilian club, but they're still pro athletes. So there's still a lot of pride in that. There is a fire in that team, and there is and this is one thing I hope No Sereno doesn't mess up, because the unit that they had out there, shit, if they can stick with that, I'll be happy. No Serena, let's hope that doesn't fuck up the chemistry. Let's not have too many egos in the locker room. Not saying that that's going to happen. Just yeah, but there, like I said, there's a fire in that team that you could see it Saturday night. They were having fun, and that's the thing. They did not have fun at moments last year. A lot of moments. Saturday, they were having a blast, and winning does that, obviously. But you can tell that there was a looseness to that team that we did not feel at all last year, even during the friendlies that we were playing.
That was a perfect friendly. They know what to expect. Molino's gotten more weight on him. People are saying he looks more muscular.
Molino looked good. He did. Yeah. All right. Well, that is the preseason. I'm calling it a big discussion. I would call it a round table, but Mainland put out an article that they called a round table, so I'm refusing to call this a round table. And we got no table, exactly. So we have a discussion. That's our that's the title of the video. People are not going to get it until the end. But anyways, thanks. Steve is being inappropriate. Lisa, get him under control. All right. So that's all we got. I want to thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Steve. I enjoyed these panel discussions. It's a little different pace from match preview and from fan TV, so I always have a good time doing this. Big thanks to my main man, Adam, behind the camera. He subbed in for Pedro. Regular cameraman just sold out last minute. Dick. Anyway, peace out, guys.